The robbers launched a sudden assault on the bus, ordering all passengers to get off and kneel, targeting them solely for being from different countries. Their cruelty was merciless. They beat one man unconscious as his partner watched in helpless despair. Upon finding a Christian among the group, they demanded he hand over all his sacred possessions to spare his life. Though he pleaded and tried to explain, the leader refused to listen. Right in front of the children, he mercilessly ended the man's life, then hurled a child into the vehicle with the other hostages. Overcome with rage, a woman charged at him, only to be seized and forced onto the vehicle. The robbers were on the verge of committing something horrific. But just as chaos mounted, her lover regained consciousness and overpowered the leader. With authority, he commanded the robbers to disarm, then led the woman and the other passengers safely back onto the bus. However, she didn't board the bus right away. Instead, she sprinted to the vehicle holding the hostages and rescued the child who had been taken earlier. Only after confirming everyone was safely on board did the man strike a final, decisive blow that took down the leader. He then joined the passengers, and they sped toward the hospital. His name was Andre, a Special Forces soldier. After ensuring his lover's safety, he immediately returned to rejoin his team. Meanwhile, the leader of the taxi gang, humiliated by his defeat at Andre's hands, refused to accept it. Consumed by vengeance, he tracked down the bus driver and tried to force him to reveal Andre's location. But even under the threat of death, the driver stood firm and said nothing. Back at the hospital, as Yasna, Andre's lover, was recovering, she suddenly received a message. The doctor wanted to see her. But the moment Yasna stepped into the examination room, she knew something was wrong. It was a trap. Waiting for her wasn't a doctor, but the leader of the taxi gang himself. He seized her, along with several others, and imprisoned them in a cold, abandoned warehouse. Approaching her with unsettling calm, he ran his fingers through her hair and asked softly, "Where is Andre?" Yasna stood her ground, insisting she knew nothing. But the gang leader didn't believe a word. To break her will, he mercilessly killed a hostage right in front of her. Still, Yasna refused to speak. Then, with a cold, threatening gaze, he turned toward a young girl. Realizing the danger and left with no other choice, Yasna was forced to reveal Andre's location. Amid the turmoil, the young girl's older brother seized the moment to help her escape. Following his whispered instructions, she slipped away to the medical room, moving silently, careful to stay out of sight as the gang leader walked off. Meanwhile, Andre learned that Yasna had been kidnapped. Without a moment's hesitation, he followed the trail to an airport controlled by the gang, determined to rescue the hostages. What he didn't anticipate was crossing paths with his former teammates. As it turned out, they had also been dispatched by the Ministry of Defense with orders to take down the gang. Realizing they shared a common mission, the two sides quickly joined forces. Just then, a sniper spotted the gang approaching the airport. But instead of storming the base, they halted outside and called the control tower. When no one responded, they scanned the airport interior with binoculars only to spot a sniper concealed on the rooftop. Realizing the trap, and just as the sniper prepared to fire again, the gang seized the moment to retreat, speeding off to regroup with their leader. Meanwhile, Andre had infiltrated the airport in a desperate bid to rescue the hostages. But to his horror, most had already been killed. Only Yasna survived, saved by his timely arrival. Though he had secured the safety of the woman he loved, Andre knew his duty wasn't over. As a soldier, he couldn't walk away while the gang remained a threat. Realizing Andre had taken back the airport, the taxi gang leader swiftly ordered his men to regroup and wipe out Andre and his team. A lopsided battle was about to begin. 100 gang members against just 8 elite soldiers. The team captain quickly alerted the Ministry of Defense, which ordered the Marine Corps to deploy as reinforcements. But until they arrived, Andre's team would have to hold the line alone for the next 10 hours. There was no time to waste. Without hesitation, the captain laid out a battle plan. The vanguard team covertly planted mines along the main road to the airport, while others stacked fuel near the aircraft and rigged additional explosives, ready to unleash a massive blast if needed. The sniper swiftly took position on a high vantage point to oversee the entire area. Meanwhile, Yasna, a former nurse, combed through the supply room, gathering medical supplies in preparation for any emergencies. Just as everything was in position, the sniper noticed a young boy unexpectedly wandering into their territory. The boy glanced around cautiously before stopping in an open area, heightening the sniper's suspicion. Then, shockingly, he made a mocking throat-slitting gesture toward the sniper before swiftly pedaling away on his bike, leaving the airport behind. It was a ruthless and dishonorable tactic. The gang counted on the soldiers' reluctance to harm a child. They used the boy to scout the area and possibly trigger the minefield on their behalf. Meanwhile, Yasna gave Andre the painkillers she had just found. Andre arranged for her to stay safely in the command room, away from the fighting, and handed her a grenade. Looking her directly in the eyes, he said, "Protect yourself." As Andre and his team took their positions, they bowed their heads under the scorching sun, silently praying for mercy from fate. The sniper soon spotted a convoy of gang members driving trucks toward the airport. Instantly, the battle formation was set. Everyone moved swiftly into position, bracing for the fight. As the trucks drew near, the gang members jumped out, weapons ready, launching their assault without hesitation. One of them accidentally triggered a flare, piercing the silence the battle had begun. 8 soldiers against 100 gang members. The team outside wasted no time, detonating hidden mines that turned the enemy trucks into blazing fireballs, engulfing the battlefield in flames within seconds. When night fell, the gang launched a massive assault, but they walked straight into the deadly minefield. Those who survived the blasts quickly found themselves in the sniper's crosshairs. Andre and his team won the first round, but what awaited them next was still unknown. After relentless bombardment, Andre's group suffered heavy losses, with one comrade falling in battle on the spot. Grief-stricken, another soldier made a desperate move. He drove a fuel truck straight into the enemy's mortar camp. The resulting explosion obliterated the position, igniting a flicker of hope across the battlefield. 2 days later, with ammunition running dangerously low, Andre was forced to return to the front lines and fight alongside his team. Despite their efforts to shield him, the taxi gang leader spotted Andre. A gunshot echoed. Andre collapsed to the ground. Summoning his last ounce of strength, he clenched his gun and fired, using his final bullet to fight back. From afar, Yasna saw it all. Her heart tightened, but instead of succumbing to panic, she took action. After calming the trembling young girl beside her, Yasna placed the grenade Andre had given her into the girl's hands, entrusting her with the means to protect herself. Without hesitation, she dashed toward Andre. Though exhausted, he forced himself to stand, determined to fight to his last breath to protect Yasna. Struggling against his injuries, Andre dragged himself forward, pulling Yasna to safety behind a trench as bullets tore through the air around them. But his wounds were grave. Blood poured from his body, and eventually he collapsed into unconsciousness. Still, the captain refused to surrender. Despite the danger, he recklessly raced through the storm of gunfire to reach Andre. Upon arrival, he swiftly lifted Andre onto the truck, while the rest of the team fought fiercely to cover their retreat. Against all odds, they managed to escape and return safely to base. But after the grueling battle, only 4 of them remained alive, each carrying just 4 bullets, the final echoes of their warriors' resolve. They exchanged weary, haunted glances, their eyes heavy with pain and sorrow. With no other choice, they resolved to save the last bullets for themselves. Yasna clutched the young girl tightly, turning her face away, unable to bear what was about to unfold. The captain, though torn, raised his gun and aimed at his remaining comrades. But just as he was about to pull the trigger, a sudden roar pierced the air, the sound of helicopter blades cutting through the sky. The rescue team had finally arrived, signaling the battle's end. Meanwhile, the taxi gang leader attempted to flee, unaware that the soldier hit by the mortar was still alive. Summoning his final strength, the soldier blocked the leader's path, cutting off any chance of escape. The captain swiftly evacuated the survivors, including an unconscious Andrei, to the hospital. Months later, Yasna emerged from the church, her heart heavy with quiet reflection. As she made her way home, a familiar voice called out from behind. A gentle smile touched her lips. Peace and love, were they truly meant to endure forever?